Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. I am the Crypto Crow. It is Monday. So we're going to go over price action and what's going on because I think this should be a good week. I'm hoping and I'm expecting it to be across the board. We're seeing Bitcoin move. We're seeing Cardano move, and we're going to dive into Cardano's price because I even posted something on Twitter just a little bit ago to task some of you crypto trading gurus out there because I'm looking for, and I'm kind of charting out a Wyckoff accumulation, and I think we may have just either concluded one or about to, and I'll explain that because I think the next price point is going to be pretty good, and I'm going to show that to you. So we're going to dive right into what's going on today, and I'm going to leave it at that. So here we are. This is Vinity. This is a long-term sponsor of the channel. The full description down below and the disclosures and everything. They basically sent me 30 grand worth of Vi tokens to reverse stake on their platform back when, I mean, this is getting crazy, man. This is up 6.5%. Obviously, I'm guessing over the last 24 hours, but I started with the 30 grand in Vi tokens. I basically reversed staked them, so you can see I have my stakes in play. I'm getting close to about $500 in Ethereum worth of yield to claim so far. I'm just letting it all ride for a while. And I'm going to be tracking this over the year. So over the bull market, we're going to see how far this goes. But the Vi token price was, I think, just under 60 cents when I did it. And now it's at 82, almost 83 cents. So this has been growing pretty steadily. That 30 grand is now getting close to 50. Okay. And it's been pretty reasonable in terms of time frame. So yeah, I mean, so far so good. I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. I'm not telling anybody they should run out, buy Vi tokens and stake them or reverse stake them. But I will say that when I buy the Vi tokens, or when you buy the Vi tokens, or you mint new ones, because I think minting now at a price above 60 cents, minting the new tokens is cheaper. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. And when you reverse stake them, you basically get your Ethereum. You get, I think it depends on a calculation. It'll tell you, but you get the bulk of your Ethereum back once you've reverse staked your Vi tokens after you bought them. And there are some burns and things in the mechanisms there. So you're really not out all of the money. Like, you're not really out all of the Ethereum that you use to buy the Vi tokens to begin with, but you do have to keep that readily handy should you want to pull the Vi tokens back out and sell it back into Ethereum, because you have to have what you originally staked. So you can't, like, I'm going to throw 5 Ethereum worth of Vi tokens into this and reverse stake them, pull back, I don't know what it is. Let's just call it 60 to 80% of your original ETH, and it goes back to your wallet, and then you go spend that Ethereum. Then if you don't have that the same amount of Ethereum in your wallet to basically claim this, then you're not going to be able to get it back out, right? It'll be locked in there until you have the proper amount of Ethereum to pull it back out of the smart contract. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm liking this so far. I'm not going to lie. I really do. I think it's actually pretty sweet. I want to announce again, this is my Fairdesk sponsored trading competition, up to $50,000 in bonuses for a single user. The bonuses are pretty astounding, and they're doing this to try and help me out as a channel sponsor, and they've been really, really good to me. Fairdesk really has been very good to me. Because they know that I'm not a day trader. They know that the bulk of my audience isn't, trading, right? I'm not like Crypto Face. I'm not somebody who's sitting on the internet at 3 a.m. making $1 million trades. They know this, but they've been very, very good to me, I have to say. They don't push me. They're not trying to tell me to do anything crazy or shady like other exchanges have in the past that I wouldn't do, which caused those relationships to go to shit. But they have been very good. They're working on their spot exchange. I know they're working on getting Cardano listed on their spot exchange, and I'm trying to do anything I can to help them. And honestly, the more of you out there that are traders, check this out. Join. The more it helps me, the more it helps me basically get another exchange. I really want them to just list all Cardano assets on their spot exchange. That's my goal. And so the more power I'm able to show them I have with my community, the more I'm going to be able to get things done with them. So anyway, check that out. There'll be a link in the description below. Sign up, have some fun. Don't get too crazy with your leverage, please. I don't want anybody getting liquidated on sudden moves or stop hunters in the market making field. I generally only trade with a 3x, no more than 5x ever. I've learned from that in the past. But as you can see right now, I'm up about $3,000 on my long trade that I entered a while ago. I've been sitting in this trade for so long, and I added to it. But I'm up about $3,000 right now, and I'm probably going to let it go. I should cash it out, but my liquidation price is 51,000. I mean, I feel like, I'm in a pretty good position, and unless we get a significant dump all the way to 51,000, there's really not much point at this point. If I've been able to survive a lot of the stop hunting and things like that have been going on in the midst of all this. But that's where my head's at. I don't know how this is going to turn out just yet, but I think it's pretty promising. I'm looking for, a $72,000 point, and we'll see what happens by then, because we may get a correction, and what that correction means, I don't know, but we'll dive deeper into that in the future. Cardano network has reached a significant milestone, surpassing 10 million native tokens. This achievement underscores Cardano's increasing adoption with the blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Over 10 million native tokens on the Cardano blockchain. To be honest, I'm sure the majority of them are garbage. I mean, they're, a lot of shit tokens and meme coins, but that's not necessarily the case, right? It's very easy to create a native asset on Cardano. This just proves that there's a lot of interest, and the interest is continuing to grow. Cardano's currently trading at about 47 cents. This is cryptomarketcap.com, believe it or not. They've just completely changed the face of their website. I actually like this. It's very clean, and it looks a lot more professional. And so I'm actually enjoying this quite a bit. So I'm hoping, though, what I'm not seeing is their historical price data. And I'm praying to God they didn't get rid of that, because I use that for a lot of stuff. And I'm not seeing it anywhere, but I do like how they have, the commits and the Bitcoin, or the development on GitHub as a new section on here. That's really slick. You've got your Bitcoin markets and things, but I'm not seeing the historical data. They're showing like the biggest whales that are holding it and all that. So if any of you know where to find the historical data now, I'd really appreciate it, because I really do rely on that for things. Token contract info. I mean, it looks really clean though, but I want that historical data back. According to Into the Block, and now this is all getting into what I'm going to be showing on the charts here from here on. So according to Into the Block data, 3.2 billion ADA were bought by 202,040 addresses in the range of 46, almost 47 cents and 50 cents at an average price of 48 cents. The significance of this barrier cannot be overstated. The collective actions of those holding these 3.21 billion ADA might determine whether the price might kickstart a fresh move or face resistance that curtails its ascent. Ultimately, what this is saying is, the people that bought Cardano recently around this price point, why did they buy it? Did they buy it because they're accumulating it, expecting the market to start moving up from here? Kind of an up only situation, because they're like, you know what? We bottomed out a long time ago. We've been accumulating now for a while. And in this accumulation phase, which I'm going to show you here in a minute, using Wykoff, this poses the question: are these people going to try and sell it at a local high? Like if it gets to 60 cents, are they going to dump? Or are they accumulating significant sums of ADA right now to ride it out through the rest of the bull market, likely accumulating more over time as interest continues to develop? Because there's a lot going on with Cardano right now, and we know that. We know this is the Voltaire era. We know that this is the Chang hard fork. We know that there's so much significant stuff where this is like the grand poobah of milestones for Cardano. This is basically, we're in the stage of Cardano right now where it's like we've raised our kids and we're sending them off to college to conquer the world. And to me, as odd as it sounds, it's kind of an emotional thing for me, because I know what a pivotal point we're at with Cardano. Since 2017, I feel like in one way, shape, or form, I've been kind of, in my own way, as an individual with the little power as I have, cultivating Cardano and spreading the gospel, as the, jokingly, I because people call Cardano a church or a cult or whatever, and it's like, okay, if it is, I'm obviously a priest of Cardano, and I'm here with my little white collar just preaching the gospel of Cardano to the world. And it's taken form. I've seen so many significant YouTubers out there who said, I got into Cardano because of Crow. I've been watching this video since 2017. I know that I've helped create so many millionaires in the world because of my passion for Cardano. And I know that my passion and my drive for this blockchain, while it may seem odd to some, when you discover crypto for the first time and you finally find a blockchain that has the interests of the populace of the people it wants to be, and it is this decentralized monster with an infrastructure in place to really help connect the unconnected, bank the unbanked, to provide all of the tools and security and the decentralization necessary to really change and disrupt an era of finance that we know we're on our way out of. And I look at a lot of these other blockchains and I think to myself, so many of these blockchains are thriving on short-term gains, short-sighted expectations, meme token trading and things like that. And it's like, that's okay. In the reality of it, that's okay. We all need these blockchains to survive and to live and to breathe on, and bringing in new adopters, finding their own niche to create their own sense of passion and drive for adoption in this new era of technology. So while I dump on Solana a lot, and I dump on Solana a lot because of the way they handle things, I just don't like the way they handle things. It feels dirty all the time. It's marketing tactics. It's whatever. But I don't have anything against the people that use and trade on Solana. I don't really have anything against I have people against YouTubers that really pump Solana, knowing a lot of the red flags and things. But that's another issue altogether. That, to each their own. If it works for them, it works for them. It is what it is. But when I look at blockchain technology and why I'm here, I'm looking for technology that really empowers the people to achieve things they wouldn't otherwise be able to do in a world that is ultimately controlled by central banks. And that means the world to me. That's why decentralization means so much to me. And I think we're at a point where it's such a pivotal time, both as it relates to regulation, adoption, education, government, involvement and their perception of it, what they feel they can thwart, what they feel they can either adopt and roll with. And I feel like we're seeing so many significant changes right now in the cryptocurrency space. And when you boil it all down, everything ultimately falls on what has been built on Cardano to take things to the next era of blockchain tech moving into 2025 and into the next 2030 market as well. And so that is why I remain extremely bullish. I don't really care about the short-term price action right now because I know what's coming. And I feel that everyone and anyone that follows my channel religiously also has a very strong idea as to what's been laid out, what's been achieved thus far, what we're about to achieve in the very short term, and what that ultimately means for this next era of blockchain technology. And it's a very exciting, if not emotional, time for some of us because we know what's coming, we know what's happening, we know what's being built, and we know what it's going to be used for. And we also know that we've been a part of it since inception, and we're pretty proud of that. And I think I'm going to try and focus more on that pride, that the fact that we have been a part of this since the beginning, but ultimately this is a point where we're getting ready to send our kid off to college and let them just, stake their claim to rule the world or not. And that's where we're at right now. And I really do believe wholeheartedly that Cardano is going to be setting new metrics and setting the bar in very different ways for the technology to have to evolve if they want to keep up with Cardano. And right now, I believe that, I've always used this analogy of that rubber band being pulled back. You've got other cryptocurrencies that are doing their thing and they're getting their bips and blips and their pumps and dumps and everything else, while Cardano has just been steadily pulling back. And I know that I've made this analogy to a lot of you guys back when Cardano was 2 cents, 5 5 cents, 10 cents in the last market cycle, because we were in a very similar situation. We were in a very similar position in price action as we are right now. And we had a lot of the same doubters, a lot of the same FUD, a lot of the same garbage trying to oppress and suppress the price of Cardano out of fear, ultimately. And I think that, in a market, especially nowadays, when you're in a market cycle where narratives have been playing a significant role, what has Cardano's narrative primarily been? Take Charles and his politics and all of that, put that out the window. That doesn't even mean anything in the grand scheme of things. Charles is an absolutely brilliant dude. He can be a high D personality. He can rub people the wrong way. That's okay. That doesn't matter, because the era of Cardano we're in right now takes Charles ultimately completely out of the equation in a form of establishing a Cardano constitution by which the blockchain evolves and operates, while empowering its holders and its D-reps and everyone involved in its democracy of the chain to make decisions for the blockchain moving forward. And Cardano has been and grown and achieved everything it has under the guidance, ultimately, I believe, of Charles and everyone else involved in the hierarchy of the development teams and the executive staff and everybody else, hundreds of people. So when people say, well, I kind of like Cardano, but I don't like what Charles said on Twitter yesterday. Who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Charles is not what's important to Cardano anymore. He was important in 2017. Today, he's not nearly as important to the Cardano blockchain as some people want to make him out to be. I don't really care what Charles says or does or anything. I happen to like Charles. I've had my issues with him over the years, but that's just the way it works with any kind of friendship, relationship, acquaintances, whatever. People are always going to do things, say things that might rub you the wrong way. I talked to somebody recently who said he had dumped like millions and millions of Cardano once because he watched me rant in a video because I was frustrated with Charles. And I'm like, don't do that. I can rant about my wife. I can rant about my dog. I can rant about my friends. I can rant anytime about anybody. It doesn't mean I don't love them. Doesn't mean I don't value them. And it definitely doesn't mean I don't value the work they've done. And it doesn't change my interest or my investment or my involvement in whatever it is. I adore my wife. I love my wife. But sometimes when I'm really busy and she pops in 12 times a day because she's bored, I'm like, oh my God, damn it, woman, I'm trying to get work done. Doesn't mean I don't love and adore her. It's just how I get sometimes. So, if people have to understand the importance of what is being built on Cardano, and I think we're very, very close to finally being able to see it in real time, and all of the work that has come about since 2017 with Cardano being on the #1 of GitHub for development and commits and everything else. And I think people are going to start really finally starting to understand what has been being built, where we're at, what is about to launch, and how that's going to effectively change the entire cryptocurrency space. We've dabbled in it with the transactions per second metrics, the TVL metrics, all of these different metrics that people have learned and been programmed to assume is the grand poobah of all metrics when it comes to the popularity or the use potential of a blockchain. And Cardano has been kind of secretly flipping all of that on its head. TPS isn't really a thing when you consider the way Cardano operates. With over 3,000 node operators and every node having the potential to become a Hydra head, each Hydra head doing 1,000 transactions per second, how big do you think the Cardano blockchain could effectively grow to at scale across the globe as an economic framework for financial anything? I mean, you're talking tens and tens and tens of millions of transactions per second. So, but the way it does these things is completely different. And not only that, when you calculate the fact that any transaction can have a multitude of other internal data points within that transaction, which you're not seeing that metric really discussed or talked about by any of the competing projects, right? They have their metrics that they are currently king of, and they don't want any other technology or anybody else out in the space to try and change that narrative and ultimately suppress or dilute the value that they've been able to maintain through paid, false, or other narratives. So that all is going to start coming out. And I think that's all going to start to be very, very relevant as we continue to move forward through 2024. So this is my Wyckoff challenge to people that I posted recently. Okay, trading gurus, I'm out of practice on my Wyckoff. I can't remember how the exact patterns need to be considered valid. I'm looking for the Wyckoff patterns in Cardano's recent charts. Can you find them? If you find the pattern, what happens next? And then I show this example of the Wyckoff logic for accumulation and distribution. Now, what generally happens is we'll have an accumulation phase, then a distribution phase, then we start going into another accumulation and markup phase. I believe we're right here at the end of this, and I'm going to show you why. This is Cardano against the USD, and these are high Kanishi candles though, so it's a little different, but you can see where we had an accumulation phase, and you can see my points, my trigger points for the price action. All right. And I haven't finalized this because I have been kind of questioning how exact does each individual point need to be against this chart. Okay. I'll make this a little bit bigger for everyone to try and expand on it a bit. There you go. Now it's all big for you. So you can see these trigger points here and what means what. And you can see how one is distribution and markdown. The other is accumulation and markup. And if you look at the current chart of Cardano, even going back just this past month, if we were to assume that an accumulation and distribution phase happens every month, which this is not the case necessarily, but I'm just saying that for the sake of this argument. If we were to, because I'm always looking for Wyckoff patterns and price action when I have time, because it does take some time to kind of sort through. It's almost like decoding a code in a sense, and trying to figure out where your key trigger points are so that you kind of know what's next and what might be coming next. And when you look at the actual Wyckoff distribution chart, this test is typically a little bit higher than the actual low volume failed sell-off that we saw here. Okay, so you can see this low volume sell-off, and you can see how the volume just continued to just diminish for the most part. And then we got this failed sell-off, and then we got a reversal, and then we got the test before we got the markup. Okay. Now, if you also look at this pattern on an Elliot wave, you can see the 1. Okay. You can see the 2, which the 2 is down here. All right. Then you got the 3, 4, 5. That concludes that period. Then you've got the 1, 2. And where would this go next? Well, it's funny because as I'm doing this, we're seeing these candles start to light up green as we approach this moving average again. I'm going to hazard a guess and say that we're going to start pumping past it. And then if we go to a 3 on this, that 3 is likely somewhere around the 60-cent mark. So this may very well become a significant pump before we settle in and start our next accumulation pattern before our next distribution, ultimately pumping things even further. This is where I see the future of Cardano going. I'm not 100% sure. This is one of the reasons why I'm tasking everybody to find this pattern, find these trigger points, and show me your work. I really want to know what you guys think. I know that there are people out there. I know that there are many of you guys out there who are much, much better at me in trading. Hell, as a matter of fact, my own, I guess you'd call him my virtual assistant in a sense, Crypto Chef. He's a restaurant owner, I think out in Vermont or California or something. I can't remember. I know so many people all over the place. And you know, he does a really damn good job trading. Sometimes he posts trades in my group and he's, you know, like up 600% and this and that. I'm like, I know he's trading with crazy high leverage, which scares the shit out of me because I don't want to see him get hurt. But he's always posting some pretty significant gains and he does a really good job. So maybe he'll have some fun with this, but I want to know where you guys think. I want you guys to reply to this tweet and let me know, how do you see the Wyckoff accumulation and distribution, and where do you think the price action is heading from here? Because I think honestly from here, we're going to break above this moving average. We're going to set a new level and we're going to pump up to the 60-cent range. And I think that that's going to be one of the first decent pumps in Cardano moving into this big cycle. And I think from there, we'll start accumulating, accumulating, pump. And I just think because that's ultimately what we see. And then in the grand scheme of things, we generally get, you know, in the overall market cycle, even in a parabolic run, we're known to see 20 to 40% corrections as we move up again. The last market cycle, we had like 3 significant Cardano pumps against other things like Ethereum and Bitcoin, because there's always a time in every market where Bitcoin and its spread against Cardano is significant. Even Ethereum, you know, for the price that Cardano is sitting at in its accumulation phases, you'll see Ethereum and Ethereum and Bitcoin, you'll see their value percentages rise significantly above Cardano, which ultimately kind of keeps Cardano settling somewhere around the 10th level mark on the market capitalization, right? But what we also see is as we move further into the cycle, not only does Cardano start to creep up on it, but then it starts to shoot up and blow past, settle down, shoot up and blow past. And I've done videos on this in the past, not in the recent past, over the last few weeks, where I'm showing Cardano's price action could move up 600% against Ethereum alone in a very, very short period of time. So, you know, I definitely see this as like this whole period here. I mean, if you think about it, the price action that article was talking about was this accumulation phase. And so where is it? I think, what did it say? 46 cents. And yeah, so roughly 46 to 50 cents. So if we look at this accumulation phase, we can see that the bulk of Cardano was purchased within this area here. So you got 46, and this is basically over this time frame. All right. So between 46 and that should be around 50 cents. So here you go. Right. And so this area of accumulation here is a big, big point. So what do you also see? Well, you can also see that while these whales are accumulating, well, I mean, not necessarily whales, you're talking billions of ADA accumulated over 200,000 wallet addresses. No, you're not even seeing this. I'm sorry. So here you go. So within this channel here is where the accumulation has been abundant. But then in that accumulation, what they're doing is that they're buying a lot of these dips, right? And it's kind of keeping the price under a certain price point. But now that a lot of this is concluded, okay, we got our little pumps, our little markup rally, and then we had our distribution phase. This is how you know institutions are moving the market and not necessarily the retail. The institutions are reacting to the accumulation of the 200,000 people out there that are basically just buying it up because they don't believe the price is likely going to fall much lower. And then that intent and that price action is basically why I believe that the market movers, the market makers, the people that are using, because we know that the Wyckoff logic is ultimately used by institutions. And so those institutional players are basically pushing the prices lower to try and, basically move the market. But now that it looks like we're out of that, and well, I mean, technically we're still right in the center of that, but that's also why this entire time you see this moving average come down. Now, what have you seen? Well, you're seeing this moving average settle, and it's been basically sideways. It's waiting for the price to start coming back up. We're going to probably come onto this. We're going to pump up beyond it a little bit. We're going to come back down, test it. We might test it 1 or 2 times, and then boom, we'll start racing towards our 60-cent mark. That's what I think is going to be happening in the not so distant future. But if I'm going to hazard a guess, I'm going to say that all this is likely going to happen the month of June. That's what I think is going to happen. And I'm pretty confident about that, but I'm always right sometimes. But I truly do believe that basically over the course of June, which, we've got a long time. This is a 4-hour candle. So we can set this all out here. And this is just mid-June right here where this 3 is. So will we hit 60 cents in the month of June? I believe we will. Could we hit higher than that? I believe we could. But if I'm going to hazard a guess, I'm going to say that the price is probably going to do something like this. I guess we could use this. So we'll probably see something like this. And then it might hit that 60-cent mark, come back down for a bit of a correction, maybe somewhere around the 55-cent mark. And then we'll probably accumulate for a little bit. We're going to get towards the end of, closer to the end of June. We'll accumulate, and then we'll probably break back out of that and then move a little bit higher. And we're just going to keep going that route with probably 2 or 3 you know, 2-3x pumps in the midst of all of that until we get to the peak of the market. And that's what I think is going to happen. We'll see. I mean, you know, save this video, bookmark it. We'll see if I'm right or not. I will definitely be updating everybody on what I see and how it's transpiring, you know, across the months. But ultimately, I'm still insanely bullish, and I see a lot of videos out there kind of clickbaiting people. Is Cardano dead? Is, you know, should we just give up on Cardano? Blah, 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 blah. I've seen people having, you know, original price targets for the peak of this cycle at, you know, $8 to $10. And I've seen, you know, I saw one guy recently say, you know, because it's been so slow, I'm going to change my target to somewhere around, you know, $5 to $8. And I'm like, oh, damn, that's so terrible, right? I mean, you're talking about an asset, which I based off of everything that's happening with the government right now, it's obvious at this point that Cardano is a commodity, not a security. I think that narrative is going to dissipate moving forward as well, which is going to alleviate some of the sell pressure on Cardano. More people are going to be accumulating it. And I think ultimately, what do we have now? 13, 14, 1,500 projects? I don't even remember. I have to look at the last numbers. But there are so many projects being developed on Cardano right now and it just continues to grow and grow and grow. And I believe a lot of these projects are likely going to be announcing themselves here in the 2024 into 2025 cycle. And that's only going to help really boom Cardano. You got to remember, guys and gals, when you're talking about Cardano, you're not talking about a flimsy layer 1 blockchain that can only really service the most minuscule and minimal projects. And by that I mean, this isn't a meme coin farm. This isn't an NFT farm. This isn't a blockchain that has been built to cater to the degens of the space. And I know that sounds insulting, and I don't mean it. Listen, I've got meme coins. I have a meme coin. I have NFTs. I love NFTs. I'm building an NFT based game right now, a trading card game. A lot of it's right behind me, Wargrim, right? So, and I don't mean that in terms of like everybody that plays into it is a degen. What I'm trying to say is that the use case, not potential, but the reasoning for Cardano being developed and built the way it is with decentralization and security at the heart of all of it is because it's a blockchain that's been developed to cater to international, global financial use cases. And above that, voting. If we are ever going to see voting on a blockchain, whether it's the presidential votes or statewide or just different countries or whatever, my money is on the fact. It's not a fact. It's my opinion. But my money is on the idea that it will end up on Cardano before anything else, likely utilizing Midnight in some way, shape, or form. And I believe that a lot of that is going to start with some form of digital ID. I do believe that digital IDs are probably going to spawn on Cardano once we're in the era of true decentralization and you know, democratic rule of the Cardano blockchain. You know, when these data points and things are able to be harvested and utilized in the blockchain the way we're able to prove our identities, who we are, I really do believe that that's a whole other video. I'll get to a lot of that stuff as we move forward. But hey, it's Monday. Have a really, really productive start to your week. I know I try to until I burn out by like Wednesday. And then by Wednesday, if the prices started pumping on Monday, typically by Wednesday, we start to get a little bit of a correction and a change in course. And then by Friday, we settle down for the weekend. So we'll see what happens and how high we get. I'd love to see us pump above this moving average here. By the middle of the week, but we'll see. I'd love to see, let's say I'd like to see a 50-cent Cardano by the end of the week, but we'll see. Until next time, guys and gals, crow your coins. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.